Vung Tau isn't the tired old oil town that you might think it is, and its best years certainly aren't behind it. It's just one of those towns you need to give a chance, like your teenage daughter's new boyfriend or that new colleague at work whose first impression suggests he's a nonce. Like the taste of Nook Mum, it grows on you. Still, I'd always liked the town for its beachy vibes, interesting history, quirky Russian connection, and its proximity to Ho Chi Minh City. Vung Tau is just a couple of hours by car or ferry from Vietnam's largest city. Sadly, however, I'd resigned myself to the fact this somewhat charming little town would remain to me a place just to lie by the pool during the day and sit at the bar at night, not a destination for eating. There's certainly nothing wrong with that for sure, but food can make or break a trip. If it's shite, it can turn the most jovial of us into crabby, miserable sods. For yonks, I asked around for the best local eats in Vung Tau, but no one could suggest anything other than Gun Hao 1. You know, that seafood joint on the water north a bit up the road from Front Beach, where a small army of dishevelled-looking parking attendants is needed at weekends just to manage the traffic going in and out of the place. Good luck getting a seat and then coming back out again without the arse hanging out of your pants. It can be expensive. But it's an institution, everyone will say, like Guk Guk One is, or at least was, in Ho Chi Minh City, or these days, even Pizza 4P's now located just about everywhere in Vietnam. Other than Gun Hao 1, the next best suggestions were something Western, or that local joint just up from the corner on that street I've forgotten the name of that sells a selection of those dishes I forget the name of too, but it's bloody cheap and a good feed. Then one day it dawned on me to ask a close friend of mine, Jade, who was born in Vung Tau and had spent most of her life there. Duh. Please be kind in the comments. And hey presto, she put me onto a winner straight away. A few, in fact. First up, she sent me to some of the best snails I've had in my life. If not, they were at least the best I've ever had under a large tree on a corner of a T intersection of two streets, just up the road from Tommy's bar I can't remember the names of without Googling. There is, however, a landmark that can't be missed, no matter how many beers you've had at Tommy's beforehand and how puffy your eyes are as a result. This snail joint, we'll call it Op Com Dun, snail no name, because like many of the best places to eat in Vung Tau, it doesn't have a name. It's at the base of a very large shady tree on one corner of the T intersection. But even better, the tree's trunk is painted the kind of azure blue that every single one of Vietnam's fishermen seem to paint their boats in. Although, I'll admit, I did snare a pic of one getting a fresh lick of green paint recently. See Instapic above, so I'm exaggerating a bit. They're like the office workers of the sea, these fishermen. One wears a white shirt and black slacks with no socks, so everyone else does the same bloody thing. It's the same with boats, it seems. In addition, there's a small Buddhist altar by the tree, which is something to look out for so you know you've found the right set of plastic chairs and tables on a section of footpath that can accommodate barely 10 or so hungry punters. It's also a reminder that if you don't pay your bill, then karma will probably get you in the end someday. I went for lunch, and I recommend you get there early. Better still, either call ahead somehow, don't ask me for a number, or if you can, pop by the day before to let the lovely owner know you're coming and to give her an estimated time of arrival. When I visited, I got excited and ordered a variety of mollusks on 4 plates, demonstrating my gluttonous tendencies and inability to make decisions for my own good. Along with a beer, it set me back 180,000 Vietnam Dong, approximately $7.80 US. It was that good, I went back the next day with my friend Mr. Din from Coco Homestay, and you can check out our experience in the video below. Let's face it, who doesn't want to be a DJ? I would be one if I could, there's just the small issue of talent. But this next cook not only has an amazing talent for cooking arguably the best Banh Xeo in Vung Tau, she does it with a style that looks uncannily similar to how DJs spin their decks. Well, at least in my imagination. Here, our Banh Xeo mixer cooks up traditional southern style stuff, but somehow does it lighter, tastier and cooler than anybody else I've seen. Naturally, behind every talented woman is a tireless, hard-working husband supporting her all the way. He's in charge of men's stuff, that is, keeping out of the way of his wife and making sure the tables are cleared for the next batch of hungry campers. This husband and wife combo works B2B, that's club speak for back-to-back, by the way, better than Hernan Cataneo and Nick Warren. They're that good. True to form in Vung Tau, this place has no name, so let's call it Banh Xeo Com Dun. And just to forewarn you, you'll have as much chance of snaring a spot here without a booking as a lost mobile phone on a Saigon street being turned into the local police station. None. Book ahead, go early, opens at 5 p.m, so as not to miss out or get scowled at. From a DJ to hip-hop ladies, you must be thinking I'm bonkers by now. Well, you'd be right, but you'd also be bonkers if you missed out on trying these tasty little snacks from the ladies at this other no-name joint not far from our Banh Xeo lady.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me, ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney.
Here at this nondescript looking shop house right by a narrow alley in the centre of town that you would never know existed unless you were told about it, the lady who started the business has been popping out Banh Xeo for nigh on a quarter of a century at a rate on average of 700 plus per day at a cost of 5,000 Vietnam dong a pop. So what's Banh Xeo? Loosely translated, they're pepper buns, small, doughy, deep-fried balls that puff up with hot air when dropped into a boiling hot wok of oil. They're made with flour, water, sometimes yeast or baking powder, then just before they're lobbed into the oily abyss, they're lightly rolled in some black pepper. Inside them, there's typically a small amount of sweet bean paste, helping to form a joyful combination of sweet and savoury, making them the perfect snack to tide you over till dinner at a tricky hour of the day when many other joints aren't open. The ladies here are famous and have featured on all the major mainstream and social media foodie channels. But that has come at a price for we mere mortals. Don't rock up unannounced and expect to get a bag of goodies in your hot little hands when they open up at 3 p.m-ish each day. There's usually a lineup of people who have pre-ordered. Smart. And there's a constant flow of customers coming and going until everything's sold out. You'll be ignored. Oh, that's another thing. Places like this shut up shop once they're sold out. Simple as that. Now that I've said all this, I'll let you in on a little secret. I did get lucky the couple of times I showed up unannounced, but I had to smile my ass off and pretend that I was some kind of international YouTube sensation who actually had some followers. Bring your grovelling A-game if you decide to risk it. These ladies take no prisoners and they can smell weakness at the drop of a Banh Xeo in piping hot oil. Tell them what you want, pay, then get the hell out of their way until you're called. Otherwise, you may just be forced to leave empty-handed, and that would be a crying shame. Just about every province in Vietnam can lay claim to its own dish, or at least its own version of popular dishes. Different versions of banh cot can be found all over the country, but it's widely regarded, in the south at least, that Vung Tau is its home. Done right, banh cot are crispy little deep-fried heavenly discs made from rice flour and coconut milk batter, topped with shrimp, dom, or squid, muk, shallots, shrimp powder, fresh herbs, and wrapped in lettuce and mustard leaves, then dunked in a tasty concoction of fish sauce, nukmam, chili, and shredded green papaya. It's typically eaten for breakfast, but it's not uncommon to see them available at other times of the day. In Vung Tau, everyone has their favourite go-to place, but on a recent trip there, I was recommended this lovely mum and pop shop in a quiet residential street not far from Front Beach by motorcycle. It's run by a lovely couple out of the ground floor of their house. Early each morning they set up on the footpath and fry these babies up until they're all gone. And invariably they sell out mid-morning. I found out the hard way when I arrived one morning around 9 a.m. to discover they were already packing up for the day. What makes this place great is that everything is so fresh. Their bun cart are crispy and not as oily as others around town I've eaten. On top of that, a plate will set you back just 30,000 Vietnam dong, approximately $1.30 US. Our last but not least no-name venue in Vung Tau is building a fine reputation for their specialty, bun bebe, pronounced bebe. Bun, of course, is a kind of noodles, and bebe is best described as a mantis shrimp. Imagine a lobster or a freshwater crayfish, but without its body. Yeah, good luck with that. Anyway, it's quite a rare dish that I'd never heard of until Mr. Din introduced it to me on another recent trip to Vung Tau. In addition to the bebe, you'll find some squid, shrimp, a super tasty fish cake and ground crab, which is then served with a large plate of fresh herbs to add as you go. Its flavour is savoury, but its saltiness can be toned down by adding a squeeze or two of lime. And if you like your food spicy, just add chili to taste. There are two noodle varieties available here. A red rice noodle from Hanoi that looks and tastes a lot like fettuccine, and the southern style white rice noodle that looks similar to a Hung Tau noodle. But perhaps the highlight is the owner's special red and green chili sauce to dip into as you eat. I considered snaffling a sample and starting up my own chili sauce briefly, until I reminded myself I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Expect to pay between 40,000 Vietnam dong to 50,000 Vietnam dong, approximately $2.15 US, for a great alternative to the usual stuff you might have for breakfast.